Luo Feng, this barbaric brute Keita stopped and yelled in awkward Chinese. Whoosh. Luo Feng was also shocked and immediately stopped. He stood beside him and looked at this extremely famous Great Bear Keita with interest. You're not running? Great Bear Keita laughed helplessly and said with awkward Chinese, Luo Feng, my strength isn't as good as yours. I concede. I am willing to give you all of the spirits of nature that I obtained. Luo Feng laughed with surprise. This Great Bear Keita is interesting. Great Bear Keita laughed bitterly in his heart. When he talked with Phantom Demon Catalan before, he already knew that this Luo Feng is already a spirit reader at the peak of the advanced level and can be called an invincible wargod. A powerful fighter at this level is a figure that can shake any region on Earth with just one sentence. Kill him, Keita? 6 throwing knives can definitely turn Great Bear Keita into mush. Keita doesn't have a black god set. Very well, I know that you have 2 spirits of nature in your bag, hand them over, smiled Luo Feng. I won't kill you. Alright, Great Bear Keita wasn't surprised that Luo Feng knew how many spirits of nature he had. With a sweep of his spiritual force, how could Luo Feng not know what treasures Great Bear Keita has on him? Put them away. Great Bear Keita took out 2,000-year willow hearts and threw them towards Luo Feng. Very good. Luo Feng smiled as he used his spiritual force to sweep these 2,000-year willow hearts and the 10,000-year willow heart from before into his inner pocket of his battle uniform. Great Bear Keita slightly smiled. Then I'll be leaving first. When you go to Europe, you can find me if you need anything. Next time we're in the Virtual Spaces Palace of Wargods, we need to have a good drink. After saying that, Great Bear Keita swiftly left. Quite passionate how Luo Feng laughed. Virtual Spaces Palace of Wargods? Luo Feng was very clear that anyone who obtained the title of Wargod joined the Palace of Wargods. And this Palace of Wargods was created by powerful fighters like Hong and Thunder God. From what he heard, the Palace of Wargods is in the virtual space. Keita wisely handed over the 2,000-year willow hearts. Luo Feng's mood was pretty good. Above Fog Isle, Luo Feng stood on his shield 200 meters in the air and looked down at the entire Misty Island. At the same time, his spiritual force spread out to search, wanting to find Liao. This Liao sure is careful in hiding. If he doesn't make a sound, my spiritual force can't find him either. Luo Feng frowned in midair, feeling helpless. Suddenly, Luo Feng turned to look. In the distance, a fiery red stream of light quickly flew over from the horizon like a meteor. In the dark night, this fiery red stream of light was very conspicuous. The red light stopped in front of Luo Feng. It was actually a white man with brown curly hair wearing a battle uniform. This white man floated in midair. The space around him seemed to be warping. The surface of his body rippled with flames. The man within the flames looked at Luo Feng, speaking in English. Who are you? Luo Feng was shocked within. Flames on the surface of his body? Flying in the air? This is definitely an existence surpassing the wargod level. I am Luo Feng from the Dojo of Limits. Luo Feng stood on his shield and slightly bowed in midair to show his respect. Luo Feng. The man within the flames slightly nodded and then fiercely roared, Catalan, all 4 of you come out. His deep voice swiftly spread across the entire Misty Island. The entire Misty Island was filled with explosions. Soon enough, Luo Feng's spiritual force discovered that 4 people were gathered below. Phantom Demon Catalan, Vulture Liao, Blood Shadow Ethan, and Great Bear Keita. Representative Farr. The 4 people below all bowed respectfully. Phantom Demon Catalan and the others looked at the powerful fighter who was bathed in flames in the night sky and were all shocked. Ever since Luo Feng stole the 1,000-year willow heart, Phantom Demon Catalan immediately notified his master. His master contacted several existences surpassing the wargod level. But who would have thought? He had actually arrived so quickly. I was training in the continent of Australia. After your master notified me, I rushed over immediately. Representative Farr, who was bathed in flames, smiled as he said, How are you guys doing with the spirit of nature? Representative Farr. Liao yelled loudly on the side in English, The most precious 10,000-year willow heart we found was stolen by this Luo Feng. He also stole the other 3,000-year willow hearts. In the night, Luo Feng's face slightly changed as he hovered in midair on his shield. Luo Feng. Representative Farr looked towards Luo Feng and his gaze became cold. Hand over the 10,000-year willow heart and the 3,000-year willow hearts. Luo Feng turned around and ran. Trying to run? Representative Farr instantly turned into a fiery red light and chased after him. Even though Representative Farr is an existence surpassing the wargod level. However, all of the powerful wargods and existences surpassing the wargod level on Earth are members of the Palace of Wargods. The Palace of Wargods has its own rules. Existences surpassing the wargod level are forbidden from killing wargods without sufficient reason. And Luo Feng comes from the Dojo of Limits. In this world, existences surpassing the wargod level don't dare to mess with the Dojo of Limits. Even though they won't kill him, Representative Farr definitely has to get the 10,000-year willow heart. Representative Farr, who turned into flames, changed his expression and increased his speed by a large amount. However, the distance between him and Luo Feng didn't shrink at all. Instead, it grew further and further. So it was like this. Luo Feng, who was flying rapidly on his shield, couldn't help but to let out a smile as he looked back. This Representative Farr's flying speed sure isn't as fast as mine. When he flew over before, I felt that his flying speed was half of my maximum flying speed. Now that I look at it, even when he explodes he's much slower than me. Boom. Representative Farr, who was surrounded by flames, quickly landed on the Misty Island. Liu and the others on the side were secretly shocked. Looks like Representative Farr didn't catch up to LuoFeng. Hurry, let's split up and quickly harvest the spirits of nature. If you guys can't handle it, immediately notify me, yelled Representative Farr. Yes. Catalan and the others immediately rushed into the depths of the Misty Island. As they ran, Liu couldn't help but to ask, Catalan, how come Representative Farr can't catch up to LuoFeng? Existences surpassing the wargod level are indeed much stronger than wargods, said Catalan quietly. However, in midair there's nowhere for them to borrow strength from. If they run on the ground their speed will be frighteningly fast. As for flying, existences surpassing the wargod level can fly, but their flying speed is much slower than on the ground. Liu, Keita and Ethan all understood. Actually, when LuoFeng stole the 1,000-year Willow heart for the first time, Catalan said that even existences surpassing the wargod level wouldn't dare to say such a thing to hunt down an advanced level wargod level spirit reader underground. Indeed, existences surpassing the wargod level are extremely powerful. However, they aren't unreasonably powerful. If they run on the ground they can instantly catch up to LuoFeng. As for the sky, his powerful legs can't unleash their explosive power, so he can only rely on his special ability to fly. Even though that type of flying is faster than most spirit readers, it's still lacking compared to a spirit reader at the peak of the advanced level wargod level. LuoFeng returned and hovered 300 to 400 meters above the Misty Island. His spiritual force spread out. The air suddenly shook and a magenta flowing light stopped above LuoFeng in the blink of an eye. It was indeed a magenta triangular fighter jet. In terms of appearance, this streamlined triangular fighter jet is almost exactly the same as the one Hong rode on last time. The only difference is the color. Voila, the hatch automatically opened. 2 shadows flew out. The fighter jet automatically closed its hatch and hovered in midair. My Dojo of Limits fighter jet. LuoFeng let out a face of joy. You're LuoFeng? 2 shadows hovered beside LuoFeng. One of them had long flowing hair and always had a smile on his face. The feeling he gave off was like a gentle breeze that calmed one's heart. As for the man hovering beside him, he was as cold as a mountain and wore a golden mask on his face. Greetings to the 2 investigators. LuoFeng bowed. How's the situation down there? Asked Investigator Liu on the side. LuoFeng followed. Investigator, that's an existence surpassing the wargod level of the HR Alliance. Representative Farr. He just arrived a few minutes ago. As for the Willow hearts, there are a total of 9,000-year Willow hearts and 1 10,000-year Willow heart. 6 of the 1,000-year Willow hearts were taken by them. I used 1,000-year Willow heart before and took 2,000-year Willow hearts and 1 10,000-year Willow heart. Investigator Liu let out a smile and slightly nodded. 10,000-year Willow heart? Not bad. At this time, a fiery red flowing light flew up from below. It was Representative Farr. Representative Liu. Farr looked at Investigator Liu and then at the golden masked man beside him. He let out a shocked expression. Representative Farr, all of the spirits of nature on this Misty Island belong to my Dojo of Limits. You don't have any objections, right? Said Investigator Liu calmly. The flames on Farr's body fiercely rose and he said angrily, Representative Liu, don't go too far. We discovered this Misty Island first. You guys didn't discover it first, I discovered it first, interrupted LuoFeng. You can have Catalan and Liu come and verify it. Indeed, LuoFeng was the first to arrive at this Misty Island. He purposely turned on his tactical communications watch to lure Liu over. If Liu didn't come, LuoFeng wouldn't have recognized those treasures. Ah, did you hear that? Smiled Investigator Liu. Our people discovered it first. Representative Farr sneered. This Misty Island has no owner, so why should it belong to your Dojo of Limits? If you have the ability then we can fight for it fairly. Whoever gets the spirit of nature first gets it. After hearing this, Investigator Liu smiled as he looked at Representative Farr. After thinking for a bit, he nodded. I agree. Representative Farr froze. LuoFeng was also shocked. Keep in mind that the entire Misty Island is covered in mist, so it's impossible to see clearly. And sometimes, you can't even recognize the spirit of nature right in front of you. Whoever gets it the most gets it. How could this Investigator Liu agree to this condition? It's up to you. Investigator Liu looked towards the golden masked man beside him. Okay, the golden masked man slightly nodded. Oh. He swiftly flew into the distance and hovered in the air above the Misty Island. After that, the mysterious golden masked man actually opened his hands and closed his eyes. A formless, special energy spread out in all directions with him as the center. It was like a radar emitting all sorts of waves. Around 5 or 6 seconds passed. Whoosh! Like a bolt of lightning, the mysterious golden masked man directly flew into the Misty Island. This scene caused LuoFeng and Representative Farr, who were hovering in midair, to be secretly shocked. Logically speaking, it's extremely difficult to find spirits of nature in this thick fog. If spirits of nature don't attack, they usually won't be able to recognize them even if they're right in front of you. So they don't have much of an advantage in finding spirits of nature, existences surpassing the wargod level. But why? Investigator Liu was full of confidence. Why did he let the mysterious golden masked man attack? Representative Farr, just stay here with me. This way you can relax and I can relax too. Investigator Liu glanced at him. Representative Farr only sneered and continued to hover in midair. Representative Farr doesn't have any special method to find spirits of nature, so he might as well keep Investigator Liu occupied. Suddenly, 4 silhouettes swiftly rushed downwards, and 1 silhouette even rushed towards the sky. LuoFeng looked carefully. The one that flew up was indeed Phantom Demon Catalan. The black light on Catalan's feet extended into the shape of a plank. As he stepped on the black plank, Phantom Demon Catalan directly hovered in midair. Representative Farr, Representative Farr. Catalan said furiously, we were just digging for an unknown spirit of nature, but at the crucial moment someone stole it. The enemy was too fast and too powerful. He should be in existence surpassing the wargod level. The 4 of us couldn't even fight back. Representative Farr's face changed as he heard this. And the spirit of nature that Li Yao discovered earlier was already gone by the time we got there. It was taken away by someone else, yelled Catalan again. Haha. Investigator Liu laughed loudly as he heard this. Representative Farr's face turned green as he heard this. LuoFeng on the other hand was extremely shocked. Damn, that mysterious golden masked man actually has such an ability to easily find spirits of nature in the endless fog? Logically speaking, if a vegetation spirit didn't take the initiative to attack, it would be very difficult to distinguish whether it was a vegetation spirit or not. Representative Liu, may I know which of the 3 great guards is that? Iceberg? Senator Farr's face was ashen. I didn't expect one of the dojo master's 3 guards to have such a special ability. You are very smart. It is indeed an iceberg. Investigator Liu laughed lightly, but is it worth making a fuss about? After breaking through the wargod level and becoming in existence surpassing the wargod level, everyone had different abilities because of their different cultivation. Your ability is fire, but Iceberg of the 3 great guards has abilities that you can't even imagine. Dojo of Limits Hong, one of the 5 investigators. But in reality, other than the 5 inspectors, only a few people knew that Hong had 3 personal guards under him. These 3 personal guards had been loyal to Hong for a long time. Could be said that they were absolutely loyal. Hong also taught these 3 royal guards with all his heart and helped these 3 royal guards. These 3 royal guards were all existences surpassing the wargod level. Everyone said that the 5 inspectors were terrifying. But many powerful fighters were even more afraid of these 3 royal guards. Other than Hong, no one knows who they really are. They only know that the 3 royal guards' code names are Beast, Iceberg, and Alluring. Royal Guard. LuoFeng was shocked. Not an investigator? Young man. Investigator Liu laughed as he looked at LuoFeng. The head's power isn't as simple as you think. The 3 royal guards under the head are all existences surpassing the wargod level. And every single royal guard under the head's nurturing has extremely shocking strength. Otherwise, why would all the countries and organizations in this world be so afraid of the head? LuoFeng was speechless. One person nurtured 3 existences surpassing the wargod level. Holy rumble. Who? It was pitch black below. The island that was shrouded in fog would occasionally have the sound of explosions and plants being hit. Clearly these sounds were made by that royal guard. In midair. Suddenly, a soft wind formed a round barrier and covered LuoFeng and Investigator Liu. Investigator? LuoFeng looked towards Investigator Liu with shock. Just a little trick. I didn't want Farr to hear it, smiled Investigator Liu. Let me introduce myself. My name is Liu He. The head's evaluation of you is extremely high. He said that you're one of the top spirit reader geniuses in the entire world. You used a 1000-year willow heart this time. What level has your spiritual force reached? LuoFeng slightly hesitated. Peak of the advanced level wargod level spirit reader, said LuoFeng. Investigator Liu took in a deep breath and looked at LuoFeng in disbelief. He couldn't help but to ask, how old are you this year? 19 years old, answered LuoFeng. 19 years old, peak of the advanced level wargod level spirit reader? Investigator Liu couldn't help but to shake his head and laugh. I've always heard about the legendary geniuses and how powerful they are. During the Grand Nirvana period, the head and Chairman Thunder God both became existences surpassing the wargod level in just a few years. I've seen a few reach the peak of the advanced level wargod level in just 2 to 3 years. But this is the first time I've seen a 19-year-old spirit reader at the peak of the advanced level wargod level. Investigator Liu's gaze towards LuoFeng became a lot gentler. Why is the Dojo of Limits powerful? It's unity. They work hard to raise geniuses and make the dojo even stronger. They don't have to worry about the younger generation suppressing the younger generation. LuoFeng's entire journey was all because of Instructor Jiang Yan, Chief Instructor Wu Tong, Special Envoy Yang Hui, Teacher Jiang Feng, and so on. That's why he was able to grow so smoothly. Your own talent is important, but so is your environment. Very good. Investigator Liu smiled as he nodded. With your strength, you can already be called an invincible wargod. A spirit reader at the peak of the advanced level wargod level, he indeed is hard to deal with. His flying speed seems to be very fast, and he's also very unpredictable when he burrows into the ground, making it hard for people to catch up. LuoFeng couldn't help but to recall the scene from before. Representative Farr wasn't able to catch up to him in midair. However, don't get careless in the future. You're invincible within the wargod level, but if you meet an existence surpassing the wargod level, that might not be the case. Existences surpassing the wargod level all have different abilities, smiled Representative Liu. Different people have different advantages. Representative Liu smiled lightly. Different people have different advantages. For example, my flying speed is much faster than Farr. LuoFeng nodded. Just like that mysterious golden-masked man who is one of Hong's 3 royal guards, Ice Mountain, he was able to easily find large amounts of spirits of nature. Investigator Liu carefully reminded LuoFeng not to be too proud. There are many existences surpassing the wargod level that can deal with LuoFeng. Let me see the 10,000-year Willow heart, said Investigator Liu. Investigator LuoFeng took out the 10,000-year Willow heart from his pocket. Investigator Liu took it and looked at it. The green and golden strands that rippled within the oval crystal made Investigator Liu squint his eyes. He nodded. This 10,000-year Willow heart is definitely not normal. I have a feeling that one 10,000-year Willow heart is even more important than 10,000-year Willow hearts. LuoFeng let out a smile as he heard this. Isn't that right? Who knows how much easier it is to chop down 9 willow trees than to chop down 1 willow tree king? Of course, the 10,000-year Willow heart of the Willow Tree King isn't simple. However, you can't casually use a treasure like this. You need to let the head take a look to determine how to use it, said Investigator Liu seriously. If you don't use the treasure properly, you can easily die. Inspector Liu said solemnly, if treasures are not used properly, it is very easy to die. Back then, there was someone who consumed a certain type of treasure and his body directly exploded. LuoFeng nodded. You can still die from eating, but this 10,000-year Willow heart is much more valuable than the 1,000-year Willow heart. Without 100% confidence, LuoFeng wouldn't stupidly eat it. Anyway, LuoFeng, you did a great job this time, said Investigator Liu. Once you find the Misty Island and report it, you'll receive 10% of the reward. You'll also receive the 10,000-year Willow heart from digging up treasures, which counts as a great job. When the time comes, we'll give you a bit more. Now that you're a spirit reader at the peak of the advanced level wargod level, the dojo will probably arrange things for you. You don't have to stay in this elite training camp anymore, smiled Investigator Liu. How could the head not use a talent like you? Who knows, there might even be a large reward. The head isn't a stingy person. Investigator? LuoFeng was a bit nervous. Investigator Liu looked at LuoFeng. Speak. I'm just asking the investigator. I wonder if the head can reward me with a black god set, asked LuoFeng. Investigator Liu froze. This kid sure isn't humble at all. After the battle of the Misty Island, LuoFeng really wants a black god set. The effects of this black god set are way too good, much better than a SS grade battle uniform. Actually, LuoFeng hasn't received the title of wargod yet, so legally speaking he isn't a wargod. Logically speaking, LuoFeng can continue to stay in the elite training camp and obtain first place again and again. Wouldn't he receive a huge reward like that? Wouldn't he receive a black god set? Originally, I had a chance of getting it if I stayed in the training camp, joked LuoFeng. You kid, you're already invincible among wargods, yet you still want to fight with those kids? Investigator Liu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. I really can't decide on the black god set. I'll see what the head says later. The patrol inspector rarely interacted with the students. Investigator Liu took the initiative to tell LuoFeng his name and even passionately chatted with him. He already had the intention of becoming friends. But who would have thought that LuoFeng, an invincible wargod, an absolute leader of a region, was acting like a child? Oh. Indeed, LuoFeng is only 19 years old, so he is indeed a kid. Hong. In the dark night, the entire Misty Island suddenly started shaking, which shocked LuoFeng, Investigator Liu, and Representative Farr who were in midair. Hurry up and leave. A stern voice rang out. The golden-masked man fled in a sorry state. Whoosh. In the distance, a dark purple vine with a diameter of 20 centimeters shot through the air. The length of the vine was so long that it was impossible to see its end. Under the illumination of Senator Farr's flames, the naked eye could see that it was at least 500 to 600 meters long, with an unknown length hidden in the fog. It was like a long vine of heaven and earth. This vine was like a tentacle that stretched out for hundreds of meters. It was still rapidly extending towards the golden-masked man. The golden-masked man's bag was completely bulging. Clearly, it contained a large amount of wood spirits. This long vine. LuoFeng jumped in shock as he watched. The black and violet vine that extended from the distant mist seemed endless. One couldn't see the end of it with a glance. At first glance, it looked like a coiling python that was coiling towards the frantically escaping golden-masked man. Bio. The golden-masked man held a long blade that was as thin as a cicada's wing in each hand. It was like a transparent blade of ice as it fiercely slashed towards the black and violet vine. Instantly, a shockwave that could be seen with the naked eye fiercely spread in all directions. The towering trees below were all shattered by this shockwave. Even Vulture Li Yao, Blood Shadow Ethan, and Great Bear Kato were all desperately escaping. If they accidentally get caught in the shockwave, they'll probably be done for. What? LuoFeng was shocked. The black and violet vine that had a diameter of 20 centimeters was slashed by the two blades of ice and barely managed to leave a wound that was around 1 centimeter long. However, this wound healed in the blink of an eye. Let's go, Investigator Liu grabbed LuoFeng. LuoFeng didn't resist and immediately flew towards the distance with Investigator Liu. As for the black and violet vine, it chased after the golden-masked man and didn't waste any time chasing after LuoFeng and the others. Get on the fighter jet, yelled Investigator Liu. Whoosh. The magenta triangular fighter jet that was floating in the distance actually directly flew over and opened its hatch. Investigator Liu and Luo Feng were like two flowing lights as they directly flew into the triangular fighter jet. The triangular fighter jet was completely dark. Luo Feng and Investigator Liu looked outside through the hatch. The fighter jet, on the other hand, was swiftly flying towards the distance and pulling away from the black and violet vine. Wah! The hatch closed. "Show me the scene of Ice Mountain's battle," ordered Investigator Liu. Gee. Within the gloomy cabin, a video immediately appeared out of nowhere. It was the scene of the battle that was currently happening above the Misty Island. The clarity was much better than what the naked eye could see. In the video, only the golden masked man was in the air above the Misty Island, and he was being attacked by the vine. The golden masked man's speed was as fast as lightning as he swiftly escaped. Pah! An earth-shaking sound rang out. The long vine actually lashed out in the air like a whip. The 1,000-meter-long dark purple vine lashed out fiercely in the air. As it lashed out and retracted, it produced an incredible explosive sound. Even after passing through the cabin door, Luo Feng could still feel his ears ringing. Such a long vine can actually hit people like a whip? Investigator Liu couldn't help but sigh. If Bing Shan was hit, he would be finished. "Investigator Liu, are we just going to watch?" asked Luo Feng. They were all people from the Dojo of Limits. How could they just watch as their own people were attacked? "Luo Feng, that Ice Mountain Royal Guard's power is even stronger than mine, his life preservation abilities are even more powerful. He was the Dojo Master's personal guard, and the Dojo Master had imparted many life-saving abilities to them. I'll only be a hindrance if I go." Inspector Liu was not anxious at all. "Don't worry, this long vine is still not good." Inspector Liu's expression changed drastically. Luo Feng also looked at the video and took in a deep breath. Rumble. In the video, the entire Misty Island started to shake. At the same time, another endless dark purple vine swiftly extended out of the mist. This time there were two dark purple vines. No. The entire Misty Island was shaking, and a third dark purple vine that seemed to stretch across the sky extended out. The fourth vine. The fifth vine. Each vine was so long that the naked eye couldn't see the end of it. It was definitely over 1,000 meters long. And each vine was dark purple with a diameter of 20 centimeters. They were also incomparably tough. Even existences surpassing the wargod level. Can't do anything to them. We're in big trouble. Investigator Liu's face was green. In the sky above the Misty Island, the vines that pierced through the sky were like the tentacles of the entire Misty Island. They crazily waved around and attacked the golden masked man from all directions. Even though the golden masked man's speed is already shockingly fast. With a shake he can travel a few hundred meters. Logically speaking, he should be able to easily get rid of the vines. However, the vines themselves are too strange. They can twist and twist as they please. They're so fast that they turned into phantoms, not allowing the golden masked man to escape. At this moment, in the video, a total of 6 vines crazily waved in the sky above the Misty Island. The golden masked man dodged each danger with difficulty. According to the computer's data, these 6 vines are over 1,600 meters long. They can instantly extend, contract, and move at a speed exceeding 1,000 meters per second. Investigator Liu's face was terrible. Their toughness is about the same as an emperor-level monster. However, their recovery speed is too terrifying. Their wounds can instantly heal. Luo Feng also silently watched. In the video, the 6 vines cooperated perfectly. With each attack, they naturally forced the golden masked man's space to dodge to become smaller and smaller. Boom. What? Luo Feng and Investigator Liu were both shocked. Under the encirclement of the 6 dark purple vines, the incomparably tiny golden masked man instantly turned into a white flowing light. His speed was so fast that he practically instantly escaped the encirclement of the 6 vines. This white flowing light was flying towards the triangular fighter with an unbelievable speed. The hatch opened. The white flowing light's speed decreased and turned into a human figure. It directly crashed into the cockpit and the hatch immediately closed. "Return to headquarters," yelled Investigator Liu. The purplish-red triangular fighter immediately turned into a purplish-red flowing light and disappeared into the horizon. Only the sky above the Misty Island was left with the dark purple vines crazily waving around, as if they were extremely angry. In the cockpit. "Ice Mountain, how are you?" Investigator Liu helped the golden masked man up. The golden masked man laid on the chair with his eyes closed. His breathing was weak as he said quietly, "Don't worry, Liu He, I won't die yet. It's just that using the origin technique takes too much damage to my body. I'll need to rest for a while when I get back." Investigator Liu let out a sigh of relief. "Ice Mountain, what's the forbidden technique, can you teach me?" Investigator Liu couldn't help but to ask. It's not that he doesn't know the rules, but the speed that Royal Guard Ice Mountain displayed when he escaped was simply too shocking. Even though he won't be able to fight back after using it. This technique is definitely a life-saving technique. I've contributed a lot of the wealth and treasures I've accumulated over the past 5 years to the Dojo Master. That's why the Dojo Master spent a lot of time to create this life-saving ultimate move based on the characteristics of my origin energy. Bing Shan glanced at Investigator Liu. "Your origin ability is different from mine. You can't learn it." Inspector Liu shook his head helplessly. He also knew. If the Dojo Master was given sufficient wealth and treasures, the Dojo Master would help design ultimate moves for his subordinates. It was just that this kind of thing also consumed a lot of energy for Hong, so his request was very shocking. I spent a lot of money on this Chen-level auto jet. Investigator Liu couldn't help but shake his head. Auto jet. Luo Feng couldn't help but to say, this fighter jet doesn't need a pilot and can move according to a person's will? It was too advanced. He had never seen a fighter jet like this before. And before, Luo Feng had completely felt this fighter jet's AI. Yes, this is a Chen-level auto jet. Just the cost of materials alone is astronomical. Investigator Liu couldn't help but feel proud of himself. At the crucial moment, I can control it to block the attack of a king-class monster. Even if it's a king-class monster, it can't even think about destroying this fighter jet. Its entire body is made of much better materials than SS-grade weapons. Luo Feng was stunned. Isn't this too exaggerated? The material of the fighter jet is even better than SS-class weapons? Luo Feng finally experienced how luxurious an existence surpassing the wargod level is. But that vine just now was a binding attack. My auto jet couldn't do anything about it. Investigator Liu shook his head and then smiled as he looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng, with your contribution to the Misty Island, you'll definitely receive a huge reward. It's definitely enough to buy a universe-level auto jet. Perhaps, he would be able to purchase the highest-grade primeval auto warship. Do you know about the prehistoric level auto jet? It's the one that the dojo master is riding in. Its defense is incredible, and it's even equipped with an airborne laser cannon. Luo Feng remained silent. Had he become a fool? His reward this time was clearly huge. A 1,000-year willow heart is already more valuable than a portion of dragon blood, let alone a 10,000-year willow heart. Plus, Royal Guard Ice Mountain received a huge backpack of spirits of nature. His own quota is definitely an incredible amount of wealth. Why would he waste it to buy a fighter jet? Ice Mountain, how's the reward this time? Investigator Liu couldn't help but to ask. Royal Guard Ice Mountain, who seemed to be a bit better, opened his eyes and looked at him indifferently. Huge, extremely huge. Investigator Liu couldn't help but to say, I should have done something this time, right? Humph, you only managed to hold back Representative Farr. Royal Guard Ice Mountain said indifferently, the mission of extracting spirits of nature can give you 30% of the total reward. Let me put it nicely, you can barely get 5%. Luo Feng contributed the 10,000-year willow heart and 2,000-year willow hearts, so he can barely get 5%. I'll get 20%. Investigator Liu was speechless since he indeed didn't do anything. 10,000-year willow heart and 2,000-year willow hearts, only 5%? Investigator Liu couldn't help but to say, what do you know? Royal Guard Ice Mountain laughed indifferently, just from the ones I personally harvested, there are already 92 spirits of nature. More than 6 of them are better than the 10,000-year willow heart. Luo Feng and Investigator Liu both took in a deep breath. This amount of wealth is ridiculous. This Misty Island is truly a treasure island, giving birth to so many spirits of nature in an instant. The most valuable thing is still that long vine. Royal Guard Ice Mountain lowered his voice. I originally sensed the energy of the long vine and attacked, but I didn't think that it was only a small part of the long vine. The entire long vine is over 2,000 meters long, and I think that this long vine is just a part of some spirit of nature. In the end, there were a total of 6 vines chasing after me. So, there's an incredible spirit of nature on the entire Misty Island, Royal Guard Ice Mountain said indifferently. That's the biggest treasure. Shan said calmly, that is the greatest wealth. When I was escaping just now, I sent the battle scene to the dojo master. The dojo master should personally take care of this matter. The head will personally take care of this? Investigator Liu and Luo Feng both nodded to themselves. Indeed, if the 6 black vines are just a part of that spirit of nature, then the strongest spirit of nature on this Misty Island isn't easy to deal with. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming great videos.